And welcome to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. This is the sports show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University and its athletic program. Dean Beckman, Donny, Nadeau joining you once again. And today our featured guests are from the women's golf team, men's and women's golf team, as Kevin Landrum coaches both teams. He joins us. And Jenna Mrozinski also on the program today. So welcome to the Cardinals Nest. And Jenna, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us where you're from? You're the lone senior on the team this year.
Yes,
and so
I am.
you have that particular leadership responsibility. You're a biology major at St. Mary's. So maybe tell us where you're from and how you got started golfing and then how you ended up coming to St. Mary's.
Well, I'm from North St. Paul, Minnesota, and it's about 2 hours from here, close to Twin Cities area. I started golfing, I've been golfing pretty much my entire life. We're a pretty active family, but my brother got really into it, and that got me really into it, so I got really serious about golf in high school. And then I also had an older brother and an older sister who came to St. Mary's, and that's what got me to come to St. Mary's.
Right, so certainly a family tradition. And then as far as biology goes, I know you're looking at the possibility of graduate school. What do you hope to do eventually, maybe?
Physical therapy. I would love to do some sort of sports physical therapy.
Well, Kevin, it has to be nice to have Jenna on the team. You have a slew of freshmen and then the lone senior this year.
Yeah, it's been really, really nice because she's kind of taken all of them under her wing, a couple in particular, but just she's been through all this time and time again, so she can tell them, help maybe make them not so nervous for some of these events, what to expect. So yeah, it's been great having her.
Have you had to rely on her for your position? Obviously, she's been in her position longer than you have here, this being your second year as the head coach. Talk a little bit about the adjustments that you made from last year to this year, maybe what you learned from last year that carried over to this year to improve yourself as a coach.
Well, with her and I, we find ourselves, especially last week when we went up and played the practice round at the conference tournament, and we were just talking back and forth, trying to remember certain tee boxes where the pin placements would be for certain days. So the other four were just kind of twiddling their thumbs and looking around, and her and I are having a conversation. So it's been nice to have that. So between the two of us, we did a pretty good job. Me being in my second year as the head coach, like I've told you before, Donny, it didn't change a whole lot during the season from when I was the assistant, because we are going separate directions with now Coach Egan going with the men. So essentially every weekend I was the head coach. My job just changed with all the planning, with the scheduling, ordering equipment, scheduling practices. So as far as the weekend, day-to-day stuff, that really hasn't changed a whole lot. I'm just getting a little bit more comfortable.
Jenna, let's talk a little about this weekend. The MIC Championships are this weekend. The only time that you play 3 rounds in a single tournament. Last year, very memorable for you. Probably your the best round that you've ever shot was at this championship. Do you talk to the other individuals, your other teammates, about the importance of being mentally ready for this weekend?
I do, yeah. We like to have a good time on the team, but at the same time, Coach is always constantly reminding us that we also need to take this very seriously, because it is MIAC and it is a big deal, but we still like to have fun with it, and it is a lot to mentally prepare for it. And I know I've been stressed this week with school, but I'm still in the back of my mind always thinking about how to prepare for this weekend mentally.
One of the things that does get lost sometimes, these are student athletes, and midterms are coming up here right around the corner, mid-October. And Kevin had talked, Jenna, about how you have taken some of the freshmen under your wing a little bit and tried to provide some leadership there. I'm sure you were pleased when you saw Haley Jung shoot a career best last weekend.
Yes, I was. I was very happy for her.
Yeah.
Kevin, let's talk a little bit about on the guys' side. Obviously, as the overseer of both teams, you've got some talented returners on that squad, but you've also got a freshman in Blake Westerberg who's really kind of taken charge in terms of being that #1 golfer for you. Talk a little bit about where you're at with the guys.
Well, we're very excited and happy with Blake, and quite honestly, this is what we expected. When he came in, he had a very, very good senior year, and this is what we expect him to do, and we expect him to have a really good round the next 3 times up at the conference tournament. So we're excited to see how he can do there. he's kind of the building block for the future. But yet he's also one of the few guys I've seen, if I've even seen any in the past 4 or 5 years. He knows his clubs like there's no one else. I mean, he knows how if I hit the three-quarter swing, it's going this distance. And that's why he's so good, is because he knows his distances and his clubs so well and has that comfort level. And he just plays his game, and when he does, he's very good.
Last 3 rounds in the 70s for him, you can kind of see that he's getting a little more comfortable with the collegiate game because it is different. You know, high school is one thing, but you're getting here where everybody's shooting, you know, mid to low 70s, and you could see that he starts out with 79, then 77. His last time out, he had a 75. So he has the potential to really compete with everybody in the conference.
He shot a 76 in our practice round up at Bunker Hills, and he told me I left probably 4 or 5 out there. So I'm anxious and excited to see what Blake can do.
Well,
I'm very excited.
And golf is one of those sports similar to a few others where it's not how you start, it's how you finish. He's finishing strong. Talk about the seasons for both the women's and the men's team and how they've progressed up to this point.
We didn't play in quite as many tournaments as I would like. There was some other scheduling issues, but we purposely took last weekend off because of the 4 women, and then Blake especially. We wanted to make sure that they got a chance to go play the practice round. Have that comfort level. So that's kind of the way we decided to go with things. So hopefully that will pay off for us. And I keep trying to tell them that you're playing the course. It's not necessarily who's wearing the other color shirts that day, but let's just play the course. And I like Bunker Hills, and I like our chances to do well this weekend.
Talk about the preparation. Do you talk through the holes to the players, both on the men's and women's side? You talk about, okay, this is a par 4 at Doglegs Right. You know, here's where you want to be. Do you strategize with them about where they want to place their shots and whatnot?
We've adjusted playing out at Cedar Valley. So playing on the Green Monster this week, we've played a couple of the par 4s. We've moved up and played them as par 3s to simulate the 220-yard par 3s that the men are going to have. We've done it a couple different ways with the women. But yeah, we're definitely been thinking all week, certain holes, certain placements, certain clubs off the tee. Absolutely, that's what we've been working on this week.
You know, and I know we've talked before about that strategy aspect, and really, especially on the guys' side, where so many times the guys want to get up on a tee box and just grab that driver and just grip it and rip it, where, you know, maybe a 4-metal or even maybe even a 4-iron or a 5-iron is a smarter play off the tee. How hard is it to get some of these stubborn college males to understand that you don't always have to hit it 320?
Extremely hard. One thing I've been trying to tell them this week in the wake of the Ryder Cup, and we all love Bubba Watson. He's fun to watch and hits it a mile, but sometimes we don't have any idea where Bubba's going to hit it. Now, Steve Stricker, Jim Furyk, not exciting by any means, but they're in the fairway, they're hitting greens. That's the kind of guys that I need. And those kind of guys will have a chance to make birdie, and they'll be successful. So if we can buy into that, we'll see. But like you said, they're 18 to 21-year-old males. I've been there, and I know we can be quite stubborn.
Jenna, talk a little bit about the experience that you've had there, how that's going to help you outcome this weekend, because you have played Bunker now 9 times, well, plus your practice round, so even more than that, but you've played it 3 years in competition, so you know what to expect. What do you expect this year?
It's going to be the same, but I'm definitely going into it with a different mindset, knowing that it's my senior year and I know my full potential and that I can play really well. I had a pretty good practice round, so I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
Jenna, we had talked with Coach Landrum about the mindset going into the season. Is it the same for the golfer, where you say, okay, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and I just have to improve right along? What's your mindset as you go through the season, as you approach the season?
It's definitely more of a marathon. You can't let one bad round get you down. Like, you need to pick your head up and know that you can do better the next day.
You know, Coach, we talk all the time about how it's easy in the summertime to go out and play golf. And, you can shoot 75 because sometimes there's no out of bounds or not in the water or whatever. But one of the other differences is in the summertime, it's usually 70 to 80 degrees and you're in shirt sleeves. This weekend, you're going to be talking about golfers who are probably wanting to wear parkas. How do you account for that? How do you get them to stay in the right mindset, because they might be bundled up just trying to stay warm?
Well, as I was looking at the weather forecast leading up here, I was disappointed and glad that it was going to get cooler and more windy the last couple days here, so we can get used to it. Luckily, the women, we've had a couple tournaments where it's been in the 50s and very windy on the weekends, so we've actually had a chance to play in some weather like this. But you're exactly right. It's going to be a lot different. It's not going to be 75 and sunny. It's going to be slow. And Jenna mentioned that we like to have fun, and that's one of the things with difference in college and when you go out and play with your buddies on the weekend, is this is very slow, so you have to, if you're dead serious for 5 to 6 hours, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So you have to find that balance to where you can laugh. Then, okay, now it's my turn to hit. I got to take a minute, minute and a half. I got to focus, concentrate, and then just that kind of keeps you calm throughout the round. So hopefully we just get used to the weather. It is what it is, and then go from there.
Talk about your role this weekend, because I know that you spend a lot of time with your golfers out on the course. What do you look at for your role during the 3 days of this tournament?
I try to help them with some distances, a little bit be like a caddy at times. Sometimes I see things that maybe they don't see. Sometimes I ask them, okay, what do you see on this putt, on the green here? They tell me, and I say, yeah, that's exactly what I see. So just giving them the confidence that they're reading the stuff right. So I'm really there to help out however they need me, and that's one thing that we've decided with Coach Egan being with the men and me being with the women. With such a short season, we can get to know the golfers, they get to know us, and we can have that comfort level with each other. So when we get to the conference tournament, we can make it the best for everybody.
Jenna, does the mindset, does the feel change at all between this weekend and any of the other tournaments that you've played this year?
I would say so, yes. Most of our tournaments this year, we were playing in Wisconsin or within different conferences. So knowing that this is within the Minnesota MIAC conference, it is a different mindset going into it, knowing that this actually counts.
How about the fact that it's 3 days? Because like I said before, you don't play any other tournaments where you have to get that third round in. Does that make a big difference to you?
It does. By the third day, you're exhausted, you're really tired, and you just got to be ready for it.
And what happens is we get to the second and third day, and our back nine is the men's front nine, so we end up following the teams that are leading, and it sometimes comes to just a screeching halt. Because the better players take a lot longer. So that can be tough mentally when you get to that third day. It's just kind of like, oh man, we've been here forever.
You're just ready to finish.
Well, before we close out this segment, Kevin, did you have a chance to go to the Ryder Cup tournament? Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I got a chance to go down last Thursday for the practice rounds, and top 5 thing on my bucket list. I never thought I'd be able to cross off, and I can now say I've done it.
Wow, so what's that like being at one of those events?
A lot of fun, but it was a little bit different because I'd been to the PGA Championship, but just that whole team aspect. When you're watching guys in the practice round and they're playing alternate shot to get used to that, or they're just working on different chips from different areas of the green, and just knowing that we're on a team, and just that whole aspect, and then hearing the European fans there cheering, and come on lads, let's give them a clap, and just some different things like that, and it's totally different. And the opening ceremony is a lot of fun. Just that spirit of USA and then the European fans. It was there's nothing like it.
Right.
And speaking of teams, and not to preview anything to come, but we were talking before we started taping that you get exactly 1 week of break, so to speak, before men's basketball starts up. All the winter sports start on the 15th of October. You're going to take that week to rest, but you got to be getting a little bit excited for basketball to start as well.
I am. I'm very, very excited, though, for this weekend. Then I've got some recruits coming in next week. Then probably next weekend I'll take my family and we'll go stay in a hotel and go swimming with my little girl. And then Monday we'll be ready to rock and roll. So I'll use that week to wind down and start back up all at the same time.
All right, well, best of luck this upcoming weekend at the Conference Championship. So,
Thank you.
Jenna Mrozinski, Kevin Landrum, thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Thank
All right,
you.
stay tuned. Donny and I will be right back to talk and recap the previous week in St. Mary's sports right here on the Cardinals Nest.
So you know how some cable companies have these bundle deals where if you purchase their TV, telephone, and internet together, you save? At HBC, we're taking it one step further. Get your TV and phone service through HBC, and we'll give you internet absolutely free. That's right, free. And you still save money. Some packages can save you up to $660 a year, and it's all backed by our 30-day guarantee. The best part? Free internet is available to all customers, new and existing. Go to hbci.com to see which free internet package is right for you, or call 888-474-9995.
You know, we're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, you know, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. I mean, anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
How many times in business have you heard this? Your network consultant says your computers are slow because your internet speeds are slow. Then, your service provider says it's not the internet speed, your computers and network are at fault. So which is it? Well, now with HBC's professional services, you don't have to deal with the blame game anymore. We can take care of everything for your business, from designing an entire network to installing a new printer. HBC is here to help keep your business running smooth.
Check us out on the web at hbci.com or give us a call at 888-474-9995.
We're a small town store. Everything relies on our internet, our pumps, our registers, everything. So we need somebody that is willing to go that extra mile for us. Jill is awesome. She is very personable. When we call them, they react to us as if we are top on their list. And to me, that is number one. I've had excellent service.
Call Jill and find out what excellent business service is like.
And we're back here to wrap things up on the Cardinals Nest, and we'll talk about the previous week in St. Mary's athletics. And Donny, it was a terrific week for men's soccer. They are on a 2-game winning streak right now, winning 2-1 over Concordia and then 1-0 over Buena Vista University. Just a tremendous showing, and really that program is on the upswing.
Yeah, no question about it. They're heading into Saturday's game against Hamlin, having won their last 2 games, and that's, you know, you hate to say it, but that's something that hasn't happened here at St. Mary's in quite a while. I know they're gunning for their 3rd straight against Hamlin and are playing very well. They're 5-6 right now, and that's, you know, Coach Watkins has done a great job. He's got a team, you know, that's buying into his systems, and they're buying into the way he wants them to play, and they're playing very well. I think the key, and one of the things that Coach Watkins and I have talked about a lot is that they're in a lot of close games, a lot of 1-goal games. Well, right now, they're starting to learn how to win those games rather than just getting close. And both games, the one against Concordia and the one against Buena Vista, were games that, you know, they came up with the big play when they needed it. And Jaime Zepeda had both goals against Concordia in that win. And then Gustav Salos Lopez is the one that scored against Buena Vista. And that was his first collegiate goal, which was great to see. And we've talked a lot about that a lot of these guys that are scoring for St. Mary's are people that we haven't talked a lot about, and they're spreading around that offense, and really that's what they need to do. They need to keep getting a lot of people involved and having a lot of people play very well. And right now they're playing very good soccer. The Buena Vista game on Wednesday was a game that you know, St. Mary's dominated really from start to finish. They controlled the pace of play. They controlled the play. And you know, we're patient enough to wait, and finally got that break in the second half, and Gustav was able to put the ball in the net.
And you can see the record there, 2-3 in the conference and 5-6 overall. Donny, can the Cardinals Nest take any credit once again for a bump? We had Coach Watkins on the program last week, and as we know from previous years, whenever we have a guest, that team tends to perform very well that week and into the following week. Same things happened here with men's soccer.
I'm definitely going to take part of the credit, absolutely. Right? And Coach Watkins, if you're watching this, remember, Dean and I had something to do with your 2-game winning streak.
But I will say, yeah, they are. In having him on the show, we can often, you know, feel a vibe coming from the coaches regarding their team. And I have to say, he felt very comfortable talking about his team, and he felt very comfortable with where they were at. Even though when he was on, they had a losing record and only 3 wins, you could tell he was comfortable with how a very, very young team was progressing, and now it's starting to show on the scoreboard.
Absolutely, and like you said, they're very young, and when you've got a team that's really starting, you know, 7, 8, 9 freshmen at one time, that's a lot of youth, and especially in the MIEC, which is a very junior, senior dominated league, and for St. Mary's to be putting out people that are really kind of getting their feet wet in terms of conference play, they're doing very well, and I know that Coach Watkins and the Cardinals are very excited about Saturday's game against Hamlin at 7 o'clock under the lights at Okremovich Field, and it's a big game, and it's one of those games that on paper St. Mary's should be able to come away with a victory, but as Coach Watkins always says, what matters is what you do on the field, and right now they are getting the results that they deserve to get because they're playing good soccer.
And it's family weekend, so there should be a big crowd on hand for that one. The women's soccer team, they will be at Hamlin, so they don't get a chance to play in front of the big family weekend crowd. And they have lost 2 since we were on the show, 4-0 and 3-0 to Concordia and University of Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Yeah, and what we've talked about with them, we've talked about it in the past, and we'll talk about it again, is that they need to generate some offense. Right now they've got 5 goals on the season. Sloan Kuramoto has 2 of those, and they need to be able to generate a little bit more offense. No matter what Miranda Howling does in goal, if we're not scoring at least 1 goal, we're not going to win any games, and so we need to generate some more offense, and we need to get a break or 2. I know I've talked to Coach Cassidy many times, and yes, they're battling a lot of injuries, and that certainly has an effect on the team that he's able to put on the field. But he also seems to be a bit snake that they generate a great scoring opportunity, and the ball either just sails wide or hits the post, or their goalie makes a great save, and they just need to get a break and catch a break that might help them get over the hump and at least get themselves going in the right direction.
Well, and right now the schedule is not doing them any favors. 4 consecutive road games. They don't play at home again until October 20th.
Right, and then they've got 3 straight home games before closing out the season at Augsburg. So it's tough, and every coach that we bring on the show talks about it's very difficult to play on the road. Anytime you can pick up a victory on the road, it's an added bonus. And when you can get it home, both of our teams love playing on the turf, and they play very well at home. And so it'll be nice for the Cardinal women to get back home. Unfortunately, they've still got a couple road games to go before they get to return to Okremovich Field.
And Donny, in volleyball action, 1 win, 2 losses in 3 different matches since last week here on the Cardinals Nest for the volleyball team. They won a terrific game on Saturday over Concordia College, 3-2. Unfortunately, though, followed that up with a 3-0 loss to St. Olaf.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for them, finishing 1-1 against St. Ben's and against Concordia. But I know talking to Coach Lester that Wednesday's loss to St. Olaf was a bit disappointing. Maybe not so much in just the loss itself, but in the fact that it was a 3-0 match in that St. Olaf kind of dominated from start to finish, and unfortunately they just weren't able to repeat that performance that they had on Saturday against Concordia, which was an outstanding game for the Cardinals. It was a match that they played very well, and needed to rally to come up with the victory, and did a great job and got the job done in a tough place to play. Moorhead's always tough to play. They bring great crowds, and they play very good volleyball, and it was a huge win. Unfortunately, they weren't able to match that on Wednesday, and now they go into a huge tournament at UW-Platteville this weekend. They face some very, very tough teams. Cole, their first opponent on Friday, is riding a 9-match winning streak. Then you've got the host Platteville the next match on Friday, and then La Crosse and the University of Dubuque on Saturday. So that's 4 very, very difficult matches, and it's going to be the Cardinals are going to have their hands full this weekend.
And then they come back, 1 conference game midweek on Wednesday, back to another tournament again at Stout.
They go to UW Stout the next weekend, and then it's conference play the rest of the way. So it's a big couple of weeks for them to get some matches in and kind of get their game to where they want it to be, because it's a big stretch. As you look at the standings right there, St. Mary's is going to be right in the thick of that chase for a conference playoff spot, and so no matter what they finish record-wise in this tournament this weekend or the Stout tournament, doesn't really matter. The key is that they want to be playing good, solid volleyball. They've got a big match next Wednesday, a conference match, and then the following week they've got they close out their season with a big run of conference matches, and it's going to go right down to the wire, just like it does every year in volleyball in terms of the conference playoff chase. So it's a big couple of weeks for them to just get their game where it needs to be as they head into the stretch run.
And I get the sense this team can really use this upcoming tournament against that top-notch competition. We saw how well they came out at the start of the conference season, after playing all of those preseason tournaments, they started out really well, and I think they kind of need that little boost again, boost of energy that a tournament can provide.
No question, and you're right, and that's what a tournament can provide. You've got 4 matches in 2 days, so you've got a lot of volleyball, and you can build some momentum so that when they get into Wednesday's match, they'll be, feeling confident, hopefully, and ready to go. So you're right. These next 2 weekends are big, just in a momentum builder, and I know Coach Lester, they're great. They love playing in these tournaments, and St. Mary's has always done well in just about every tournament that they play in. So it's certainly going to be an opportunity for them to get ready for a big stretch run where every match is going to be crucial.
Well, at St. Mary's last weekend, it was also the No Limit Invitational for cross-country action. What a showing by the men's team. They take first, and the women's team finishes third. Donny.
Yeah, the men were just dominant, and it was great to see. It's fun to have an invitational on your campus because you get a lot of people out, a lot of students who are out there, and the runners gave them a lot to cheer about. The men finished 1, 2, and 3 with Aaron Haley and Peter Borash and Jake Traxler. They ran an outstanding race, and
Aaron finally caught Peter.
Exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Only a couple of seconds behind throughout the season, he finally caught it.
Exactly, and Aaron ran a really good race. He grabbed the lead right from the beginning and really kind of held Peter off the whole way, and you had Jake right behind him, and for those 3, it was I'm sure a huge confidence booster for them because we're getting close to the conference championships for cross country, and those 3 are going to dictate how this team does. And I know that Coach Barrett is pretty excited about the team he's got and the potential for this team. And I wouldn't be surprised if conference championship 5th or 4th is not out of the question for us, and that would be an outstanding performance on the guys' side. The women continue to get better with each meet, and Katie Stoles is doing a great job as the leader of that women's team. And if they can stay healthy and get everybody running at the top of their abilities, I look for some big things from them at the conference championships as well.
All right, Donny, about a minute left here. Tell us what's happening with fall tennis action.
Well, I tell you, Andrew Rangich has got to be exhausted. A senior for the Cardinal men's tennis team. They were at the Midwest Open and the USTA ITA regional over at Gustavus this past weekend, and Andrew played 8 matches in 2 days. Actually, 8 matches in less than 24 hours. He played 5 matches on Friday. Coach Hallberg said he was on the court for over 7 hours, which doesn't surprise me. But he won 5 matches on Friday, 3 singles, and then 2 doubles. Won another match in his singles portion on Saturday before losing in the quarterfinals, and they lost in the quarterfinals in doubles as well. So it was a great weekend for Andrew, and really a good sign of things to come for him as he prepares for his senior season. Mike Lunka and Bobby Steingraber, who we talked a lot about last year in doubles, they played very well in doubles at the USTA ITA. They got to the quarterfinals as well and were beaten in the quarterfinals. But a very good start for them as they head into their senior season. So tennis is going to be very exciting this spring. This was a nice way for them to just get a little bit of a sample of what's to come in the spring when they kick off their seasons in February.
I tell you, when I play an hour and a half of tennis, my feet hurt.
Andrew had to be absolutely exhausted. It was a great weekend. Andrew, congratulations. It was a fantastic weekend for him, and should be very proud of what he accomplished.
All right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest. Good luck to the women's and men's golf team at the conference championship this weekend. And thanks to you for watching. Tune in again next week for another Cardinals Nest right here on HBC Channel 25.